गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन जमुना तीरा वनचारी जमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन्ना भाला गिरिवरधारी गोपी जन्ना भाला गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन जमुना तीरा वनचारी जमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्रीमद His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada की जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्रीमद His Divine Grace Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada की अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada की Garantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki Nitai Gaura Premanandi. Oh, glories to the assembled devotees. Oh, glories to the assembled devotees. Oh, glories to the assembled devotees. Oh, glories to Shishi Guru and Shigoranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, entitled The Summon Bonan, Chapter 2, entitled Prayers of the Demigods for Lord Krishna within the womb. Text number 19. Sadevaki sarvajagan nivasha nivasa bhuta nitaram nadreje Bhojendrage hegnisikhe varudha Saraswati Jnana Kalejata Sati Sadevaki Sarva Jagan Nivasha Nivasha Bhuta Nitaram Nareje Bhojendra Gehe Nishike Varudha Saraswati Jnana Kalejata Shati Sadevaki Sarva Jagan Nivasha Nivasha Bhuta Nitaram Nareje Bhojendra Gehe Nishike Varudha Saraswati Jnana Kalejata Sati. Please chant. Ladies. Sadevaki, that Devaki Devi, Sarva Jagat Nivasha, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the sustainer of all the universe, Matstani Sarva Bhutani, Nivasha Bhuta. The womb of Devaki has now become the residence. Nitaram, extensively. Na, not. Reje, became illuminated. Bhojendragehe, within the limits of the house of Kamsa. Agnishika, Agnishika Iva, like the flames of a fire. Rudha, cover. Saraswati, knowledge. Jnana Kale, in a person known as Jnana Kala, one who possesses knowledge but cannot distribute it. Yatha, or just as. Sati, so being. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Devaki then kept within herself the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the cause of all causes, the foundation of the entire cosmos. But because she was under arrest in the house of Kamsa, she was like the flames of a fire covered by the walls of a pot, or like a person who has knowledge but cannot distribute it to the world for the benefit of human society. Purport. In this verse, the word Jnana Kala is most significant. Knowledge is meant for distribution, although there is already much scientific knowledge. Whenever scientists or philosophers awaken to a particular type of knowledge, they try to distribute it throughout the world. For otherwise, the knowledge gradually dries up and no one benefits from it. India has the knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita, but unfortunately, for some reason or other, this sublime knowledge of the science of God was not distributed throughout the world, although it is meant for all of human society. Therefore, Krishna himself appeared as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and ordered all Indians to take up the cause of distributing the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita throughout the entire world. Jare dekha tare kaha Krishna upadesh amara agya guruhanan tara das. Quote, instruct everyone to follow the orders of Lord Sri Krishna as they are given in Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. In this way, become a spiritual master and try to liberate everyone in this land. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya 7:128. Although India has a sublime knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, Indians have not done their proper duty of distributing it. Now, therefore, the Krishna conscious movement has been set up to distribute this knowledge as it is, without distortion. Although previously there were attempts to distribute the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, these attempts involve distortion and compromise with mundane knowledge. But now, the Krishna consciousness movement, without mundane compromises, is distributing Bhagavad Gita as it is. And the people are deriving the benefits of awakening to Krishna consciousness and becoming devotees of Lord Krishna. Therefore, the proper distribution of knowledge has begun, by which not only will the whole world benefit, but India's glory will be magnified in human society. Kamsa tried to arrest Krishna consciousness within his house, Bhujendra Gehe, with the result that Kamsa, with all of his opulences, was later vanquished. Similarly, the real knowledge of Bhagavad Gita was being choked by unscrupulous Indian leaders, with the result that Indians' culture and knowledge of the Supreme were being lost. Now, however, because Krishna consciousness is spreading, the proper use of Bhagavad Gita is being attended. Sadevaki sarva jagan nivasha bhuta nitaranna reje bhujendra gehe nishike varudha saraswati jnana kale jathashati. Devaki then kept within himself the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the cause of all causes, the foundation of the entire cosmos. But because she was under arrest in the house of Kamsa, she was like the flames of a fire covered by the walls of a pot, or like a person who has knowledge but cannot distribute it to the world for the benefit of human society. Om Agyana Timirandasya Jananjana Shalakaja Chakshur Ummilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Ramapaswamiti. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatyada Shatarine. Panchakalpa Tarubhyasha Kripa Sindhu Vyevacha Patitanam Pavanevyo Vaishnavevyo Namo Namah. So this it's like the war call by Srila Prabhupada. Just delineating the mission of the Krishna conscious movement of ISKCON. To receive knowledge and to distribute it. To receive the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita as it is and to distribute it to the world. In the 7 purposes of ISKCON, Srila Prabhupada basically, most of them have to do with education, with actually bring this transcendental knowledge to the people, to facilitate people in general receiving this transcendental knowledge. Prabhupada explains here, knowledge is meant for distribution. When knowledge is not distributed, then dries up. It is explained that if we receive knowledge and keep it for ourselves, it's like having like a vessel to receive some valuable liquid, nectar, but having a hole. So it will basically go out. It won't remain. So to keep knowledge for oneself is condemned. Knowledge is meant for distribution. I remember as a kid, I was a fan of Spider-Man. And there was this thing that the motto of Spider-Man that guided his life was with something that when you have a particular power, you have to use it for the benefit of people. There's responsibility when you receive or when you have a particular gift of power. So there is a responsibility when we receive this great gift. Srila Prabhupada represents, he represents the mercy or the mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the avatar for the age of Kali. And it is explained, the principle of an avatar is that the avatar descends into the world with a mission. There is a mission, each avatar has a particular mission. The mission is a purpose that they have to accomplish. They come with a purpose. And Lord Chaitanya's purpose was to deliver the whole world, to make every town and village, every people of the world to embrace the life and the process of Krishna consciousness. It is explained that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu brought the storehouse of love of Godhead and open it wide open, or make it wide open, and distribute freely. Therefore, he is considered the most magnanimous incarnation, Namo Mahavadanyaya. And also, the quality that is the greatest quality among the magnificent qualities of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that is recognized is his audarya quality, which is mercy, compassion. So those followers of Lord Chaitanya, that is the quality that is honed. Compassion. Compassion for others. So therefore, the movement of Lord Chaitanya is not of Bhajananandis. It is explained. Bhajananandis is those who take, they're very contemplative and internal. It's about themselves sort of immersing in their own bhajan. But that's not the movement of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu movement is of Goshti Anandis, which means those who takes this knowledge and distribute it to others, of preachers. It's a missionary. This word mission. Missionary comes from mission. Mission comes from, it's a Latin word, missio, that means, that there's a specific purpose that defines the whole movement of the whole religion, or the whole there's a purpose that defines, and one have to understand it. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj makes this very beautiful analogy of Lord Chaitanya in the Adi Lila chapter 9, in which explains that Lord Chaitanya is the tree of devotion, the bhakti tree, but also he is the gardener and he is the distributor of the fruits. So I'm going to read. It's very beautiful, and it's sort of quite relevant. Today we have a full day of Sankirtan. It's a beautiful day. It's going to be great weather, so we're expecting a lot of people in downtown Chicago. And so it's a nice thing to meditate, while going out on Harinam, of being an instrument to this magnanimous movement. And also tonight we have also some Sankirtan in some yoga center. So it's a full day. So this is in the Adi Lila, chapter 9, in which Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj writes. I read. It's long, but it's very beautiful, so try to follow it. I take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who himself is the tree of transcendental love of Krishna, is the gardener, and also the bestower and enjoyer of its fruits. Lord Chaitanya thought, quote, "My name is Vishwambhar, he who maintains the entire universe. Its meaning will be actualized if I can fill the whole universe with love of Godhead." End of quote. Thinking in this way, he accepted the duty of a planter and began to grow a garden in Navadvip. Thus, the Lord brought the desired tree of devotional service to the earth and became its gardener. He sowed the seed and sprinkled upon it the water of his will. All glories to Sri Madhavendra Puri, the storehouse of all devotional service unto Krishna. He is the desired tree of devotional service, and it is him that the seed of devotional service first fructified. The seed of devotional service next fructified in the form of Sri Ishwara Puri, and then the gardener himself, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, became the main trunk of the tree of devotional service. By his inconceivable powers, the Lord became the gardener, the trunk, and the branches simultaneously. Paramananda Puri, Keshava Bharati, Brahmananda Puri, and Brahmananda Bharati, Sri Vishnu Puri, Keshava Puri, Krishnananda Puri, Sri Nashringa Tirtha, and Sri Shukananda Puri. These 9 sannyasis' roots are all sprouted from the trunk of the tree. Thus, the tree stood steadfastly on the strength of these 9 roots. Within the sober and grave Paramananda Puri as the central root, and the other 8 roots in the 8 directions, the tree of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stood firmly. From the trunk grew many branches, and above of them innumerable others. Thus the branches of the Chaitanya tree form a cluster or society, with great branches covering all the universe. From each branch grew many hundreds of sub-branches. No one can count how many branches thus grew. I shall try to name the four most innumerable branches. Please hear the description of the Chaitanya tree. At the top of the tree trunk branched into two. One trunk was named Sri Advaita Prabhu, and on the other Sri Nityananda Prabhu. From these trunks grew many branches and sub-branches that covered the entire world. These branches and sub-branches and the sub-branches became so numerous that no one can actually write about them. Thus the disciples and grand disciples and their admirers spread throughout the entire world, and it is not possible to enumerate them all. As a big fig tree bears fruit all over its body, each part of the tree of devotional service bore fruit. Since Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was the original trunk, the taste of the fruit that grew on the branches and sub-branches surpassed the taste of nectar. The fruits ripened and became sweet and nectarian. The gardener, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, distributed them without asking any price. All the wealth in the three worlds cannot equal the value of one such nectarian fruit of devotional service. Not considering who asked for it or who did not, nor who was fit or who was unfit to receive it, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu distributed the fruit of devotional service. The transcendental gardener, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, distributed handfuls and handfuls of fruits in all directions, and when the poor, hungry people ate the fruit, the gardener smiled with great pleasure. Lord Chaitanya thus addressed the multifarious varieties of branches and sub-branches of the tree of devotional service. Quote, "Since the tree of devotional service is transcendental, every one of its parts can perform the action of all the others. Although a tree is supposed to be immovable, this tree nevertheless moves. All the parts of this tree are spiritually cognizant, and thus, as they grow, they spread all over the world. I am the only gardener. How many places can I go? How many fruits can I pick and distribute? It will certainly be a laborious task to pick the fruits and distribute them alone. I suspect that some will receive them and others will not. Therefore, I order every man within this universe to accept Krishna consciousness movement and distribute it everywhere. I'm the only gardener. If I do not distribute these fruits, what should I do with them? How many fruits can I alone eat? By the transcendental desire of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, water has been sprinkled all over the tree, and thus there are innumerable fruits of love of Godhead. Distribute this Krishna conscious movement all over the world. Let people eat these fruits and ultimately become free from old age and death. If the fruits are distributed all over the world, my reputation as a pious man will be known everywhere, and thus all people will glorify my name with great pleasure. One who has taken birth as a human being in the land of India, Bharatvarsha, should make his life successful and work for the benefit of all other people. It is the duty of every living being to perform welfare activities for the benefit of others with his life, wealth, intelligence, and words. By his work, thought, and words, an intelligent man must perform actions which will be beneficial for all living entities in this life and the next. I am merely a gardener. I have neither a kingdom nor very great riches. I simply have some fruits and flowers that I wish to utilize to achieve piety in my life. Although I am acting as a gardener, I also want to be the tree, for thus I can bestow benefit upon all. Just see how these trees are maintaining every living entity. Their birth is successful. Their behavior is just like that of great personalities. For anyone who asks anything from a tree never goes away disappointed. End of quote. The descendant of the tree, the devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, were very glad to receive this order directly from the Lord. The fruit of love of God is so delicious that whatever a devotee distributed, those who relish the fruit anywhere in the world immediately become intoxicated. The fruit of love of Godhead distributed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is such a great intoxicant that anyone who eats it, filling his belly, immediately becomes maddened by it, and automatically he chants and dances and laughs and enjoys. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the great gardener, see that people are chanting, dancing, and laughing, and that some of them are rolling on the floor and some of them are making humming sounds, he smiles with great pleasure. The great gardener, Lord Chaitanya, personally eats these fruits, and as a result he constantly remains mad as if helpless and bewildered. With his Sankirtan movement, the Lord made everyone mad like himself. We do not find anyone who has not been intoxicated by his Sankirtan movement. Person who had formerly criticized Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, calling him a drunkard, also ate the fruit and began dance, saying, "Very good, very good." After describing the Lord's distribution of the fruit of love of Godhead, I now wish to describe the different branches of the tree of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Praying at the lotus feet of Sri Rupa and Sri Raghunath, always desiring their mercy, I, Krishna Das, narrate Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, following in their footsteps. Nice, no? So, there's one principle Prabhupada explains of those who receive a handful of fruits, whatever capacity we have to hold, within our hands. How many fruits we can hold within our hands? And when we're able to distribute it, whatever little we have, when we distribute it, our capacity to receive them becomes bigger, and then it gets filled again with more fruits. So, a principle in Krishna consciousness, one may ask, well, that describes the great devotees of the Lord who becomes branches and sub-branches of this great tree of devotional service. But who I am? I'm just like an, little worm, insect, just somehow or other attached to one of the leaves of this wonderful tree. I'm not part of the tree. I'm just, some creature that is living in the tree for now. So what can I do? What kind of fruit can I give? What kind of worm, a little, crawling ant can do? But even that little insect is tasting, a little fruit, a little piece of the fruit, with whatever, little sucking thing. Whatever we receive, even if it's not, we don't have great realizations and we're still dealing with our, material desires, we still have mixed devotion. Whatever we have that keeps us here, keeps us chanting Hare Krishna, if we share that, then we're doing our part. It's a classical example in the narrations of the Passions of Lord Ramachandra of the little insect. Sometimes it's a spider, sometimes it's a squirrel, trying to help building the bridge to Lanka in comparison to the powerful monkey chieftains like Hanuman, who was, throwing big mountain peaks into the water, that covers miles of distance. And then there is this little creature, throwing little pebbles, that it was, more like, please get out of the way. This is a job for the big guys, and you can get hurt. But Lord Ramachandra immediately corrected Hanuman and explains that the service of this insignificant creature is equal to yours, because you're doing the best that your capacity allows you to. And so this little creature is also doing that. So that is our situation. We can actually share. And then by doing that, if we actually embrace the purpose and the mission of our disciplic succession of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan movement that has been given to us, and we've been engaged by Srila Prabhupada, then our capacity to receive becomes greater. Srila Prabhupada was a genius. Actually, there's a very wonderful purport that Prabhupada writes in the Chaitanya Charitamrita too. It's very famous in terms of describing Prabhupada's brilliant adjustment of the Sankirtan mission to actually be able to engage people of the West who have no familiarity with Krishna consciousness, and also that their habits are, really deep into passion and ignorance. And how Prabhupada was able to adjust the Sankirtan mission. Now, someone may question, well, Prabhupada explains that the whole paradigm or principle is just to give it as it is. So then, where is the space for adjustment? And who can adjust? And that may give, people the freedom to, okay, just like Prabhupada, we can adjust, like that. But Prabhupada doesn't act whimsically. He acts according, they are fully connected with the mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this is Sri Chaitanya in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. It is written. This is the verse. It says in the Chaitanya, it's a famous verse, that describe Prabhupada's purport, describing its desa, kala, and patra, place, time, and circumstance, by which an empowered acharya can actually adjust certain things to achieve the purpose. The verse reads, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared in order to deliver all the fallen souls. Therefore, he devised many methods to liberate them from the clutches of Maya. Prabhupada writes
The purport is fantastic. And then we, who are beneficiaries of Prabhupada's genius, can fully relate and understand, so this is how I was allowed, like that. Prabhupada writes, it is the concern of the Acharya to show mercy to the fallen souls. In this connection, desa, kala, patra, the place, the time, and the object, should be taken into consideration. Since the European and American boys and girls in our Krishna conscious movement preach together, less intelligent men criticize that they are mingling without restriction. In Europe and America, boys and girls mingle unrestrictedly and have equal rights. Therefore, it is not possible to completely separate men from the women. However, we are thoroughly instructing both men and women how to preach. And actually, they are preaching wonderfully. Of course, we very strictly prohibit illicit sex. Boys and girls who are not married are not allowed to sleep together or live together. And there are separate arrangements for boys and girls in every temple. Grihastas live outside the temple, for in the temple we do not allow even husband and wife to live together. The result of these are wonderful. Both men and women are preaching the gospel of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Krishna, which redoubles with redoubled strength. In this verse, the words Sava Nistadite Kare Chaturi Apara indicate that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to deliver one and all. Therefore, it is a principle that a preacher must strictly follow the rules and regulations laid down in the Shastras, yet at the same time devise a means by which the preaching work to reclaim the fallen may go on with full force. So, Srila Prabhupada was able to successfully devise these different means by which actually engage people in Kali Yuga to take up this mission of Lord Chaitanya and become purified, and being able to distribute it very efficiently. So it's a tremendous fortune that somehow or other, many of us, can feel like that, that we are being taken by this sublime mission, and somehow or other being engaged to, in whatever amount or whatever way, to assist in the distribution of Krishna consciousness all over the world. It is transformative, and it is not only good for us, but it's good for the whole human society. So we can meditate on that. I want to stop here, and then if we have any comments, questions, doubts, corrections, you can ask. Any questions? All right. Yes. There's a microphone. Hold on, wait for the microphone. There's a, yeah, there is. That other door.
So, I was reading Mother Vishaka's memoir about her travels in India with Prabhupada, and she was talking about Prabhupada that initially when she and Yadavar Prabhu were traveling, they weren't married, and And she was saying that whenever Prabhupada talked to them, Prabhupada never really brought that up. And the other devotees were really a little bit fanatic about it. And they would passive-aggressively mention, oh, men and women shouldn't be together and so forth. But she would always say how Prabhupada always dealt with them so nicely, always left a nice impression on her. So I was appreciating that Prabhupada was so expert in cultivating new people that he took such good care of them that they automatically, just out of their own inspiration, realized, oh, what's the right thing to do, and then they actually did it. But Prabhupada he was just such a genius in that. And then just going back to the point of time, place, circumstance.
Yeah, nice. Anything else? Yes, Prabhu. Sridhar Anand.
So, how can I explain this? So I really enjoy, I live in an ashram right now, and I really enjoy full engagement in Krishna consciousness, and it helps me stay in Krishna consciousness, living in an ashram, but eventually I would like to have a family. And do you think, or is there any way like I can raise a family in a temple life, like still at a temple, like in a house on the property? Like,
it's possible. There are some devotees who have done it, but it's not the ideal situation in one sense. It's only, well, okay, let me reframe. You have to have a specific qualifications that there's a great deal of detachment that have to be there. When you have children, then it becomes very difficult, because children, they need, although unless you have a Prahlad Maharaj, that at 5 years old is already greatly advanced. Children need to play. They're not fully educated. They need to be educated. So it becomes difficult for the children. In general, that's something that devotees with family that live in temples find out. Well, there is no children, it's possible. Because both wife and husband, as Prabhupada said, you can still, live in separate places and then being engaged in devotional service. So once children comes, then no more Hari Hari Bol, not.
But shouldn't I raise a family to engage in the community to stay at the temple? Because I feel like we need more families in bigger communities and temples to take care of farms and big temples and all that. So if I raise a family on the temple, I feel like they can engage, and if they want to go outside in Maya, I'll let them go outside and explore life. But I really think that we should have more families living in temples so we can keep temples growing and make this movement bigger.
Yeah, in general, the principle is that you create a community around the temple. It's the village. Prabhupada, you ever read, there is a beautiful paper that Prabhupada writes. It's famous in ISKCON as the Gita Nagari prophecy. You ever come across with that? Google it. The Gita Nagari process. You know the farm Gita Nagari, no? There's the famous Pennsylvania farm Gita Nagari that Prabhupada established. And before coming to America, in the 1950s, Prabhupada wrote this paper. And it became the Gita Nagari prophecy, in which he described a village called Gita Nagari, which is a community of devotees. That is, the center of that community is the temple of Shishi Radha Partha Sarati at that time. So Gita Nagari means a village in which the principles of the Gita are exemplified or live after the principles of the Gita. So, we create communities around the temple. So you see, like right here, we have few grihastas that are very dedicated. Most of the pujaris are grihastas. Many of the temple administration services are done for grihastas, and they live very close to the temple, so they're able to do that. Some of them has families, children, and they're managing to support and serve the temple like that. So that's a life we as sadhakas, as servants of the deities, should look for. So most of us have to get married. Most devotees, and part of the training that we're receiving while living in the ashram, like you're doing now, is preparing you, in one sense, to be able to have a successful life of Krishna consciousness, meaning that you start to receive an affinity for a life, a Brahminical life, a life in the mode of goodness. So you learn, transcendental knowledge, you learn renunciation, simplicity, cleanliness. These are all Brahminical qualities. And you learn especially to worship the deities. These are things that, regardless, if we enter into Grihastha ashram, that's what you have to establish at home. You have the tools to do that. And then, we remain strong devotees with strong families. So in general, that's the right arrangement. The temples are places for renunciants. So in general, the temples, the residents of the temples are brahmacharis, vanaprasthas, and sannyasis. Well, sannyasis travel, but vanaprasthas and brahmacharis. At times, renounced grihastas can also be. We have several grihastas that are here that are living in the temple. Like there's one, Sridhar Anand Prabhu. His wife is in India. Our main pujari also. Some arrangement for the time being, but they're doing that also with a particular purpose. But in short, you can look forward to maximize right now your education, prepare yourself, and when you enter Grihastha ashram, you can look for the most suitable arrangement to raise your family close to, to be engaged in the service of the mission of Srila Prabhupada, the Sankirtan mission. And, you do it like that, So, no doubt. The ideal arrangement is rural. That's the ideal arrangement for a family. A farming community. Because you can raise your kids in the mode of goodness. Cities are places of passion and ignorance. So, it becomes more challenging. Not impossible, but super more challenging. And but in communities, farm communities, then you can raise your kids, in the mode of goodness and more suitable, close to a temple like that, a community of devotees. So that's what we're looking for, community of devotees. There's a space for one more question if someone has. You raise your hand? No? Okay. All right. No, I thought you raised your hand. Me, not me. Bring the microphone up.
Not sure about this because we came up to the topic. what about what you say that most people have to get married, but what would be the ideal arrangement for someone who doesn't choose?
You can remain in the temple, or ideally, if when there's most of us required, but some of us don't need. Like my Guru Maharaj, he didn't get married. And I know some ladies also that are, of your age right now that are deciding to be, no need to get married. If you can maintain that, is great. You save yourself a lot of tribulation. But we need guidance. The main thing is that in most of our situation, actually in all of our situations, we need guidance to understand what's the right, choice to make. But if we have the qualities and the capacities to remain renunciant, brahmachari or brahmacharini, fantastic, tremendous. Then you have a much more easy path. Like that. All right? Okay? Oh, all right, Prabhu. One more. Shravan, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for the class. You invoke the statements of Koshti Anandi and Bhajan Anandi. So through the eyes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, what is the perspective of Bhajan Anandi? How does God see it?
Traditionally, we see that the Goswamis of Vrindavan, some of them enter into, they became renounced. They gave up everything. We see Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur at the end of his life also. He took the Babaji. But however, that was just one aspect of their whole mission and work. And that was just at the end. And in one sense, it was to actually reshape the whole mission of spreading Krishna consciousness throughout the world. That they prepare the ground. But between Srila Bhaktisiddhanta and Srila Prabhupada, they define it for all of us in terms of that you have to be extremely qualified to renounce work. Extremely qualified. You have to be completely free of attachment and completely free of desire. Krishna explains that in the 6th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. That what is called karma sannyas, that whole session, that to become, to renounce completely your, the preaching work and just, enter into your own bhajan, you have to be already free. If you still have some little bit of desires or some attachment or some recognition to this world, then, you have to do your duties. Now, Prabhupada, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, they're more than qualified. They're acharyas, but they set an example. They're setting the example for the future. Most of us Kali Yuga inhabitants, most of us were not qualified. We fall into what Krishna says is what Krishna is given in the Bhagavad Gita, which is a process in which you have to keep a balance of vidya and avidya, simultaneously carry material and spiritual, karma and yoga, like that. So, and for the future pure devotees, they have to set the example for everybody else. And the fact is that you're embracing the mission, the purpose of Lord Chaitanya. You're serving that. And because of serving that, Prabhupada he had his bhajan secure. He was already back home, back to Godhead in Vrindavan, in Radha Damodar. And he decided, at the age of 70 to, go to New York. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta spends, I think 5 years or 10 years, I can't remember, chanting in his own bhajan. And then after that, he gave himself sannyas and went on to preach. So they can do it, but it doesn't, how are you going to fulfill this mission? And how are you going to set up the example? Because if I take Babaji, suppose Srila Prabhupada will have taken Babaji, then how many followers right now will be taking Babaji and not being ready for it? In fact, it happens. Prabhupada condemned them. I know one devotee who is a god brother who now is a Babaji in Radhakund. And he is an offender. So, like that. So that is a principle. It's one of these things that the many devised method, the Acharya devised the method. Being a Babaji, taking Babaji is bona fide, it's part of our tradition. Like that. But nowadays days is not the right thing. Anyway, something like that. I'm going to stop here. We can talk, and okay. Haribo. Garantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Thank you very much. For the Harinam in the city, we leave in at around 11:30. Here in the lobby, we meet all together if you like. Haribo.